This is a test of the KevCentral broadcasting system. Alright, there is no system, but this is a test. I went down a rabbit hole earlier today. You know how YouTube works. It starts recommending similar videos, except I noticed two videos back to back that were the exact same video. The only difference was the few seconds at the beginning, otherwise it was the same videos. This just so happened to coincide with me releasing a video on my Kev Reviews channel that was slated for KevCentral. So now I'm curious, how would that same content fare, KevCentral versus Kev Reviews? So here's the video, I hope you watch it and you comment. If not, I'll see you in a day or two in the next KevCentral bike video. Today I'm going to put this onto this, my Vespa Sprint 150S scooter, Italy's finest. In the case of my particular model, lots of gadgetry. TFT displays, ride tracking connections, Bluetooth, lots of resident electronics hiding throughout the scooter, and if given just a few weeks of sitting untouched, that can start to drain on the battery. Case in point, my scooter sat in this corner untouched for about 4 weeks, the holidays, then some cold weather. And if you watch this channel, you'll know I have a thing about battery performance. That's why I'm installing this quick disconnect ring terminal, aka a battery tender quick connect. I'll put a link to this down in the description. Battery tender brand, a good product. This is going on my Vespa. I want to start with trust. Let's get right to it. I'm starting off with a Torx T25 bit on my Craftsman driver. That's part of my Craftsman tool set. 4 fasteners and the center mat comes right off. Center mat's also the cover for the battery. A quick test with my voltage meter shows me that this battery is still holding over 12 volts, but it is down some from sitting. A good thing that I'm intervening now. I'm swapping over to a Torx T30 bit to get the battery strap off. I'm using my Craftsman magnet to ensure I don't drop this one bolt. That one easily goes down in the monocoque frame, and that's a lot of rattling forever. The rear bolt out, the bar moves up out of the way for full access to the battery. I already know my routing towards the rear more or less, but I do want more visibility. And I can get it by taking off this access cover. It's held on with the same Torx T25 that removed the center mat screws, and one and done for this. The modern Vespa, like the classic, a full monocoque metal body, but certain panels and trim pieces are plastic, as is the case with this cover. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the battery leads. Negative comes off first. Quick peek at the tiny little battery and an eye on where I'm going to run the lead wiring up here. As I said, I know roughly where I'm going to go towards the back. This battery bar is going to take up some of the room, and that battery tender quick connect, it has its own fuse that's going to have to go somewhere. Looking at the factory wiring, it looks like there's 2 channels of this monocoque steel frame. Some of the wires go up, some of them go down. I know I want to go down, but I might have to wing some of this. Let's see what happens. A couple of things to note. The quality of this battery tender lead, well, it's visibly obvious, at least to me. And I know it has an official name, but I'm just going to say lead from this point forward, but it's high quality, and look at that. Nice and solid, good thick plastic. Even the battery terminal ends, impressively thick, marked with raised positive and negative indicators to go with the color, of course. Here's a look at this quick connect lead. These are pretty standard. I like them. One has been keeping my riding more battery going for way longer than I would have ever guessed. I also chose this specific connector for the length. It's long enough to give me a couple of routing options. I can go left, I can go right, but it's not so long that I'm going to be bunching up unused wire. Clean what you can when you can. That's my motto. I'm also going to take this opportunity to check the clips the center mat screws into. Nice and tightly fit. This was the hardest part, and it's not difficult, just time consuming, and by time consuming I mean it took about 2 minutes. Fishing that quick connector in down and through the body to the spot that I chose to mount this at. Now I figured it would be a battle, and I assume that it usually is. Maybe I just got lucky, but it went right to where I wanted it to go and out the opening that I intended it to come out. And as you can see, my choice was on the left side of the scooter, away from the exhaust heat and near this cover because I'm going to use that as my attachment point. I'll come back to all this because first I have to figure out how I'm going to get the routing configured around the battery. There's not much spare room there. There are even wires that go to nothing. Like this one, I'm pretty sure that's a diagnostic port. I do notice that under that there's an open cavity, and that open cavity is possibly just enough room to fit the fuse block. There's also other fuses there, so it just seems right to keep them together. And as I'm doing that, I'm also thinking about those lead wires. I mean, I know they're going to go onto the left side of the battery, but I need to see if there's room for those. A point where something I mentioned earlier comes back in the picture. Do you remember me saying robust quality in regards to this battery tender kit? And do you remember me talking about the thick plastic, the blocks on the ends? Great to look at, and I'm sure they're very durable, but when you're in tight quarters and you're trying to work around, well, everything that's here, I'm having to adapt a bit. Normally I would want this terminal connector down on the bottom, but I can't do that because of those blocky ends I bragged about. So I'm having to put that over the positive wire. Electricity will flow. It's not going to matter to the battery, but it's not what I envisioned when I set out to hook this up. It's not factory parts, so I'm adapting to fit, and it's going to work out. unless that battery strap is going to become a problem. So I'll bring it back into the area and I check again. Yeah, I think it's going to work. So I'm going to tighten this terminal down just to make sure everything lines up. And also I'm going to look at that fuse and see if I can fit it in that cavity. And you see, it's already down there. With the terminal tightened down, it's a perfect spot for it. I just don't want it loose like that. I don't want it rubbing anything over thousands of miles. So I played around with it and I ended up in this orientation. Absolutely perfect. It stays in place. It looks like it was designed to be there. It's not putting pressure on anything. This is ideal. Look at that. A couple of millimeters of clearance. So I'll tighten everything back down, and I know you're supposed to tighten negative first, but this worked. Now this battery strap, one note here, both of those bolts the exact same length. So if you lose one, they're identical. The battery strap goes back into place just like it came out, and I'm also going to use the magnet to put that forward one in, or at least to get it started, because that's the one. From everything that I've read and seen, it will tumble down and somehow end up in a spot you can never get it out. I don't think it's super critical here, but I go back and forth, alternating my torque, and this isn't super tight, just tight enough. I want to keep this in place. It is there, after all, to keep other things from rattling. Secure is good. That's double checked. Also double check the battery connections and verify everything is routed nice and cleanly. I'm double happy because I was able to preserve the factory wiring positions for everything. This part's all done. Now back to the upside down. I'm winning down here too. This is as much of the line as left, and it's not only going to get to where I want it to be, but if it somehow ever comes disconnected and dangles down, it's not going to be able to touch the street. But it's not going to dangle because I have the perfect spot for it, and it's under this circular cover. It's just a trim piece that covers the crossbar that the swing axle arms bolt to. It's held in place with 3 tabs and 1 factory applied zip tie. The zip tie extra security. These tabs are supposed to do most of the holding, but it's not like a super tight grip or anything. But this is all perfect for me because I put that back into place. I put the zip tie back, and because I bought the battery tender brand of this, that cap, it's not just a little rubber arm that comes off. There is a loop here. I can put the zip tie to that, tighten it down, and it's not even tightening onto the wire of the lead. This is absolutely perfect and such an easy installation. The worst part was the 2 minutes laying on the floor as I fished that wire through the body. And even that went fast and easy. This has been the perfect installation. Flush cut snippers are going to give this a factory look. So nice. I honestly wouldn't know this was here if I wasn't looking for it. Even then, it's hard to spot. It blends right in, which is exactly what I was hoping for. All the functionality, but it looks factory, and there's no bunched up wires hiding in the body. It would bother me, but they're not here. It's a perfect fit. And where this routes, there's nothing to worry about heat-wise. It's not going to rub on any other wires. Looks are one thing, but it still has to work. I'm going to button it up by replacing the battery cover. Then the real moment of truth. I hook up my Schumacher SC1410 dual lead battery charger, desulfator, maintainer. It does it all. And a few hours later, look at that. It's in float maintenance mode, keeping my scooter ride ready even if it sits for a few weeks. An easy and affordable addition that probably should come factory. Let me know, do you have a similar setup on any of your vehicles? Maybe you're riding more. Comment below, and thanks for watching. If you made it this far, let me know, was that something better suited for Kev Reviews, or is that KevCentral content? On which channel would you more expect to see it?